Admiral's log. The sun sets on the horizon, casting long shadows across the deck as I stand, surveying the fleet stretched out before me like a mighty dragon poised to strike. Months of tireless preparation have brought us to this moment, a moment teetering on the precipice of destiny. I have overseen every detail, inspected every vessel with a critical eye, ensuring that our Navy stands as a formidable force, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. From the mightiest battleship to the humblest patrol boat, each ship bears the mark of our dedication, a testament to our unwavering resolve. But our preparations extend beyond mere logistics and training. In the shadows, away from prying eyes, I have been quietly working to sow the seeds of discord, to exploit the cracks in the facade of peace that separates us from our sworn enemies, the Japanese. Diplomatic channels have been subtly manipulated, whispers of mistrust and suspicion planted like seeds in fertile soil. Our provocations have not gone unnoticed, and tensions between our nations have reached a boiling point. We stand on the brink of war, a storm gathering on the horizon, ready to unleash its fury upon the world. And yet, despite the gravity of the situation, there is a sense of calm that permeates the air, a quiet confidence born of meticulous planning and unwavering determination. We are ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead, ready to defend our homeland, ready to claim what is rightfully ours. Japan may have underestimated us, may have thought us weak and ineffectual, but they will soon learn the folly of their arrogance. So let the drums of war sound their thunderous call. Let the banners of defiance fly high in the wind. For the time has come to write the next chapter in the annals of history.
Hey guys, Stealth here and welcome back to the Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts Chinese campaign. As I was conducting my own naval exercises, a cruise ship from Japan happened to get in the way, and the Japanese claim it was sunk due to accidental fire from my ships. I can make a choice. Now, I do not believe that this ship by the Japanese was sent there as a random cruise ship. I don't in fact believe there was even anybody aboard beyond the crew. This ship was an unauthorized reconnaissance ship. It was a spy ship dressed up as a cruise ship. So I am absolutely not going to give the Japanese any money. I am going to say that this ship was conducting unauthorized reconnaissance on our naval forces. The Japanese should know better than to try and do something like this. Now this does mean that the tension with Japan is increasing, as I'm also actively trying to stoke that fire. I am trying to get back at Japan. What happened in the meanwhile is that a group of supposed, let's say, dissidents in Sarawak launched some sort of attack on Japan. On China, on my area. I have decided to send a penal expedition to these guys, and Sarawak is now mine. This gives me the port of Bintulu and Kuching over here. Not exactly big ports, but could be useful in interdicting shipping, as it might be transiting past Singapore going into Southeast Asia. So it's a nice stepping stone without having to use something like Xiamen or Chinchu. Now my first objective over here is Formosa. This is the first place I want to try and capture from the Japanese, because I cannot have a nice little island from the Japanese off of my coast. This will not stand. So this is going to be my first objective. Before we're able to start taking that, of course, we're going to have to stoke the Japanese a bit more. A few months later, and it is on. War has erupted between the Chinese Empire and the Empire of Japan. Of course, this has all sorts of collateral effects as far as relationships go. I'm really hoping that I'm not pushing the Japanese too much towards Japan. I'm also seeing the Germans link up with Japan. I'm seeing the US link up with Japan. It's going to be all sorts of fun for Japan. Let's see how well that's going to go for the rest. Let's have a look. How is Japan now allied? Not that well. I mean, they're aligned pretty nicely. They're getting a 77 with the British, some with the French. It's not that bad. As for myself, I find myself fairly isolated. I do have 2 allies, the Swedish and the Greek. These guys are very interested in purchasing a lot of ships. And you can see that most of my shipbuilding capability is now going towards building ships for my allies, which is kind of clogging up my shipyards. So much so that I'm actually having to get a couple of my ships suspended from construction in order not to go over my intended shipbuilding capability. If you do go over, it's going to slow down your production. So, how is this going to go? How many ships do the Japanese have? 56. I have 53. They have a lot of light cruisers and a lot of heavies. They have 6 battleships and 3 BCs. I have 4 and 3. I have been very careful to update these ships constantly, giving them better citadels, better abilities to do inflict damage. Ideally, with my capabilities with those ships, as well as some, let's say, player skill, this is going to go quite well. Let's invest a lot into crew training, and the rest of it is going to go into a tech budget. I'm going to save a bit of money so that I can potentially keep building up my transport cap in peace times. Now, as far as transport cap goes, I'm going to try and defend as much as possible. The Japanese will have some power projection over in Northeast Asia, in the Sea of Japan, over in the Yellow Sea in East Asia. They don't have any interests, nor do they really need to project power in the Philippine Sea. I don't have to do that either because I don't have any interest there myself. I do have interests here in East Asia, and I'm already power projecting there. The Yellow Sea, I am power projecting, but the Japanese have a lot more. They get 2.8 million, and I have 533,000. My power projection is largely focused here in East Asia. And that is because some of my ships are over here. A battleship, 2 battle cruisers. I'm going to start spreading out some of my ships in order to balance out the power projection. Because I don't want to have necessarily one huge blob. I want to make sure that I spread my power around a bit. The main objective, as far as this campaign is going to go, is Formosa. As mentioned, their army is not that powerful. They don't have a whole lot. So what I'm going to try and do is go into the politics screen. Prep. Oh, I can't prep a naval invasion yet because we went to war this turn. As for my ships, they are all on sea control mode. I'm going to put a couple on protective mode. I generally don't do that, but I want to try and experiment with that a little bit this time around. So let's say a couple of these ships, I can set them to defend. They remain in port and on defend, have the lowest maintenance, but their activity is minimized very near to their ports. So they're expected to participate only in port defense. Their power projection is reduced. And with this, they should be able to do more damage, protect against damage to my transports. Sea control is the one where you project more power, and in being is, well, about half and half. Your power projection is reduced. It can reduce, or it can useful lower tension, but beyond that, not that much. So we're going to have a couple of ships on defend. Let's say I want to have a couple of light cruisers do that. Some heavy cruisers do that. Some of these guys are set to limited. We're not doing that. Defend. There. The rest of the ships, we're not going to have these guys set to limited mode. I'm going to have everybody on sea control. Because that is what we're trying to do. We're controlling the seas, we're controlling the encounters. As for their power here, there is none. They don't have any ships, so it should be fairly possible to go after Formosa. This does mean I'm going to have to put some ships out to sea. I'm not sure exactly which port we're going to have to try and capture, but this one should be fine. Let's get one of the battleships out there as well. Maybe the battleship and the battlecruiser. I'm trying to build up to that 100,000 tons of ships that you need. Also, putting out this many ships to sea is going to cost me a lot of money. Shanghai, battleship and battlecruiser. I have power projection in here. I can try to go after Okinawa. It would be a nice stepping stone to get closer to Japan. But I think that I don't really have the tonnage to try and do 2 naval invasions at the same time. So let's not. As for the Yellow Sea, at this point, I think that with the arrival of the battleship and the battlecruiser, we're going to have more power projection here. I'm surprised that with the power projection that these 2 battleships are doing, we're not actually doing that much. So, so that's it. Okay. I'm going to put these ships out to sea. I have a couple of DDs, a light cruisers, 2 heavies, and 2 battleships. Should be good enough. The rest of these are going to maintain their position in ports for a while. And I just want to see what the Japanese are going to do. Let's have a look. Already, we're getting some attacks. This is my attack, that is. I can attack a couple of transports, so let's do that, auto-resolve that. And we're getting some more victory points from that, as well as damaging the port of Tainan. Let's see what else is going to happen. I'm losing ships in the Yellow Sea? Really? Interesting. They're also losing transports in the Yellow Sea. So neither party is really doing that well there. Yes, I can use more money, so I'll get to building for Sweden. Not the destroyers. I'm already over my cap, though. Okay. Let's do something about finances, because this is going to bankrupt me in 5 months. I would love to do a lot of research, but at this rate, it's not really going to go that well. Quick break from Dreadnoughts for today's sponsor, which is the Block Zone. You might already know the Block Zone from a previous offering where they offered the Iowa, and they also had the Bismarck. But they've added a bunch more warships, so perhaps your favorite warship is now up for building. For example, the Richelieu, 10,803 pieces. These are big ships. I mean, they were big ships, and this does do them justice. There's a lot of detail that goes into these ships as well. Now, they have, for example, also the Yamato. Far different design, of course, from the Richelieu. It is a bit smaller, 8,717 pieces only. Should still keep you entertained for a while. Bismarck, again, very sizable warship. If you want to get a bunch of these together, there's a discount available for that. It's basically you pay 2 warships and you get the submarine for free. So you get your own U-boat. And if you are more entertained by air power, they also have an aircraft carrier. Now these things tend to run fairly expensive. But if you add code STEALTH upon checkout, you'll be able to get a 10% discount, which in case of these things adds up. So add code STEALTH upon checkout and you're going to get 10% discount. Shipping is free, so that makes it quite a bit cheaper. And, well, these projects are big. I hope to keep you entertained for a while longer. Click the link in the description or click the link in the pinned comment and get to building. A couple of our destroyers have managed to get close to a couple of cruisers. I'm not sure if this is much to the benefit of my destroyers. Let's see what these guys are armed with. They're very slow. They're doing 14 knots. They have 10 6.7-inch guns and 18 3.6ers. That's a lot. This light cruiser is armed with a couple of 7-inch guns and 14 3.1s. They're 29.5 knots. That is almost catching up to my destroyers. Interesting. If I'm able to have the Jura get kited by either of my destroyers, and as such be able to kite it away from the heavy cruisers, I might be able to launch a torpedo attack. Let's see how this is going to go. Now, in case you missed episode 1, I am playing this game, this version of the campaign, with a mod. This is BrotherMunro's mod, the Dreadnought Improvement Project. As such, you will see probably some different stats, some different units, or at least, well, not different units. You'll see units potentially play out and battles play out slightly different from what you might be used to. So in case you are seeing something like that, what makes you go, holy crap, that torpedo did a lot of damage, or why are those AI ships behaving different? That is exactly why. Now I'm going to try and do a cross-torp, and then probably just disengage. Let's have a look at these ships. They got 1 bow gun and some casemates. Okay. Now, considering that the AI is not that good, as in, at least not as good as they used to be, at spotting torpedoes, I might very well have an opportunity. I might be able to get some torpedo damage in, and considering that these torpedoes blast sizable holes in the enemy at almost 15,000 points of damage, I am expecting great things. Don't avoid. Let's see, what is the range between these two? About 6.7 and 5.9. Okay. We're going to start torpedoing this target. Yeah. You're going to torpedo this target. You're going to torpedo that target. Check if orders are understood. Nope. What was torpedo attack again? It's torpedo shift right click. Okay, so that one's yours. And that one's yours. Okay. Next. The Travis is in a good position, but the Ruthman, yeah, name of one of my patrons, is not in a great position. So we'll just have to try and get some torps out. Maybe the second DD can cause some grief later. I do hope that we are not running into anything that says, I cannot launch. Just drop it. There. Now my destroyers only carry one set of torpedoes. So I am very much inclined to just drop torps and get out. Because outside of torpedoes, I don't think I can even hurt this thing. Whereas this thing can very much hurt me. So it is time to bug out. You can see that most of the time you'd get personal pens or at least something like that. You're not getting that. The game just goes, yep, blocked, 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 blocked. It's fine. The torps should be able to deal the damage. Or so I hope. We got some decent cross spreader here. Could be useful. Ricochet? That's impressive. Oh, we're getting partial pen on the Malahawk. They did detect the torpedoes now. But by the looks of it, that might not be enough. Yeah, we're gonna get a hit. Please don't be a dud. Oh, 2 hits. Of course, there's some torpedo damage reduction, but not a whole lot. And there is more trouble on the way. Oh boy! Cook off! Hello there. And there's another torpedo right into the bow. There's another torpedo into the stern. Torpedo attacks. That's how you do it. So, the heavy cruiser Haguro. Oh, and we also hit 2 torpedoes on the light cruiser. Good lord, torpedoes are incredibly deadly in this mod. How expensive were you? 71 million. And my DDs are 11. Well, that's 1 heavy cruiser dead. Oh, and the second cruiser also took a torp. Damn. Many bulkheads. But you're flooding like crazy. Are we really gonna get 2 kills here? I don't mind if the Akuma survives. I'd like to see how the light cruiser's doing. Let's let it tick for a bit. Ambush, right? These guys did great. Look at that. 80,000 points of damage done. Damage taken, 191. Oh yeah. Okay, I think I have done what I came here to do. I inflicted some serious losses. And I showed the Japanese that sending out cadets against my trained destroyer crews is not a great idea. Did I even lose a single crew member? Yeah, I lost 2 on the Malahawk. Okay, it's fine. I've seen far, far worse losses. I'm also seeing some damaged systems on potentially the light cruiser. But if the light cruiser would have actually been at risk of sinking, it would have probably sunk already. So right now, not that big of a deal. Let's just evac and rack up some score. So, have you ever gotten about 10,000 times more victory points than the enemy? Because I have, just now. Aguro, seriously injured and immediately sank. The other one, badly damaged. How badly damaged, I can't exactly say. The light cruiser took 41,000 points of damage and survived. I'm very impressed with her capabilities. I wasn't really expecting that ship to survive, especially with many bulkheads. I would have expected that thing to go down. But hey, props to the Japanese for their shipbuilding. Now, this seems to have somewhat panicked the Japanese, but we are not going to give them an easy way out. Let's see what else we have. We have a battle between a Battlecruiser and a battleship, the Asahi. armed with 6 14-inchers versus my 6 13. Well, yeah, essentially 6 13-inchers because I don't have the ability to bring all 10 of those to bear. I have many bulkheads. I have a trained crew. They have a trained crew. They have many bulkheads. 24 knots, 15.7 knots. We're just going to go in and see how well this longer range encounter is going to go with this new mod. I'm very curious to see how these longer range encounters will end up. Where's the enemy? 20 clicks out. What's your firing range? About 19 and change. That's for HE. Okay. Show me the Japanese battleship. Yeah, that looks like a proper dreadnought. A proper dreadnought. Most of her firepower on the bow. Like 66% there. Incoming shells already. Mine, thankfully. I'm surprised that they haven't shot back at me yet. Why is that? Slow down. Get some accuracy bonus. What is your range, good sir? You're not in range? Now that surprises me. You're now in range. We're fighting at 14 kilometers. My chances of actually penning this ship at 14 kilometers right through a deck? Minimal. Considering that I can only pen about 1.3 inches of armor. Let's go with HE for a bit. Actually, reasonable accuracy, 7.3%. Considering that we're at this range, in this era, 1910, 1911, that's really good. Now, it can probably kill me. No, it can't? What? I mean, yeah, I got a hefty main belt, and fore and aft. Still. This is the improved version of the ship. It has a Citadel 3. The problem is, its AP capabilities are still somewhat lacking. In the sense that I can deal AP damage against the ship, sure, but I need to get a bit closer. Before that, however, I'm going to see how well these enemy ships are going to be capable of handling themselves. I'm not too sure at the moment. Yeah, we're firing, what, 7 barrels? It's not great. Okay, some very, very light partial damage. 11.5. Okay. 73% ID, 74, partial pen. Switch to AP, I want to see what it does. I want to see if I can get some damage in. With armor piercing. Partial pen. Not that much, but hey, every bit of damage causes them to get damage and stability. So that is excellent. I want their damage and stability. I want them to start suffering. That just got completely blocked. Here we go. Ship fully identified. Asahi. Cramped crew quarters. Ooh, that's a problem. That's battery damage control. Pitch, roll, beam, draft, all very, very reasonable. Look at that longitudinal weight offset. 0.7. That's all? Most of the time when the AI builds a ship, it's just horrid. But this thing is good. This thing is really good. I am making a mistake of potentially allowing this thing to involve its stern battery. So I might need to start turning the other way to ensure that the ship is not able to bring all that firepower to bear. My chance to pen is probably fairly bad. Yeah. Switch back to high explosive. I cannot pen that. Armor-wise, 12-inch main belt. Fore and aft are fair game at about 5 inches. Superstructure heavily armored. Yeah. If I can burn away some of their crew, cause some more damage and stability, as well as reduce the amount of damage control that they have, I might be able to close the distance later, and then deal the damage with armor piercing. First, we need to get this thing thinned out a bit. You got no HE ammo? For your what? So this thing has an 8.2-inch gun, but it carries only armor piercing. So they got a secondary maximum AP loadout. It's very, very curious. Very odd choice. Their accuracy seems to be pretty bad. Like 5%, 11% with secondary. Mine is about 14% with all guns. Ricochet. Yeah, they might be able to get a hit, but they can't really do much. Corey Stone over... Of course. The Corey Stone over here is taking it like a champ. And promptly starts taking damage. Yeah, shouldn't have said that. I think we're going to start trading fire for a while, and I don't really have the HE durability to keep that up for a long time. Their damage and stability is now 33%. They have lost about 8.5% of their crew, and their main guns are already starting to suffer. So their reload's going to improve. Well, like, increase. I got 85 seconds now, versus my 75 seconds, although it doesn't feel like that. And the more crew we knock off, the better it's going to be. It came unpleasantly close. Why is this gun suddenly trying to rangefind again? There. Damage to main gun? Really? Take note of how the ship has taken damage, but normally, if you just pepper something with HE in vanilla version, you'd start to see a lot of fires on the ship. I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing like 2 fires, and that's it. All the fire damage the ship has taken is about 240. It's really not that bad. So that, again, is something that BrotherMunro has changed with his mod. Fire damage is, A, no longer as prevalent, nor as deadly as it used to be. So the whole fire meta has been pretty much negated by his mod. How's your reload now? 87 seconds. Oh, that's not very good. Their damage and stability is 46%. Now here's my thinking. If I close the distance now, I might be able to deal some damage. The problem is, I will also start to take more damage myself. And those accurate guns of theirs are going to grow more accurate. So it's not really something that I want to do too eagerly, but with HE, it's going to be an extremely long slog to take this thing down. So we're going to close in. We're going to see if I can get some better chance to pen, while also keeping a very close eye on how I'm maneuvering my own ship to reduce the chance of getting penned. Let's go to 3 times speed. In case you are newer to Dreadnoughts, what I'm paying attention to is that... Bloody hell. Is that I'm not coming in with an angle like this, not flat. I'm trying to angle the ship so that the ricochet chance is higher. The shell comes in like that and might ricochet off the ship, but one of them didn't. And did cause a lot of damage. That's 2,700 damage as it penned the aft belt. I think it's time to repay the favor. Accuracy is 46%, 48. I'm surprised that even with a hit like that, I've only lost a couple of percentage, or a couple percent of my structural integrity. It's not that bad. I was expecting a lot more damage than that. Oh, crap. Okay, well, this is gonna... I have to change my strategy a bit. These wing turrets, the side mounts, they only have a certain amount of turn to them. And right now, they can't fire. So I'm essentially fighting this battle with 4 barrels instead of 7. It's a serious reduction in my firepower. Their chance to pen me? About even. Their accuracy, though, is better. It's 50% now. What's your price tag on that ship? 138 million. Mine's more expensive. 2,000 crew members versus their 1,000. 1,100, really. But I'm using what? Massive? Yeah, spacious quarters. Okay, come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And blocked. They're still firing HE. Curious. Only their 8-inchers doing AP damage. Or, well, trying to inflict AP damage because it doesn't have any other options. Hold on, are you turning open? I'm now looking at Ricochet, AVG, 53 degrees. The more that changes, so let's say the fewer the numbers that are, like 15 degrees is far better than 50 degrees. I'm trying to see if this thing is turning in or out. It seems to just be steady. Now, I do have torpedoes, and they do not. And as we have seen, torpedoes can inflict a massive blow upon the enemy. Unfortunately, I only have a single launcher on the bow. So I'm going to restrict that ability to launch. Because I want to keep that as a nice little surprise for them. Accuracy 100%. So we're dealing... Well, our accuracy is good, but our ability to damage them is not. And unfortunately, the HE shells for the dual barrel turrets have run out. This means I'm going to have to expose more of the ship. Oh, hold on. The ship might be vulnerable now to my AP ammunition. Because I'm getting some greens on the bow of the Asahi. That's HE coming in. Some damage, some fires. I'm not concerned. I am not concerned. What's your reload? 87 seconds. We're going to turn open a bit more. I'm going to try and get that other turret to fire. But I think it'll not work. No joy. Okay, turn in. Slow down. We're going to drop a torpedo on them. Hard to port. Their chance to pen me is probably going to go up a bit. Yeah, it's going down now as I'm trying to close the distance. And I'm also trying to blade the ship as much as possible. Only launch when you have a good opportunity to do so. Please don't damage my torpedo now. Please do not damage my torpedo launcher now. I really like my torpedo launcher. I really like it. 1 kilometer range. They will not be able to dodge that. That's going to inflict about 14,000 points of damage, minus anti-torp 1. And torpedo is away. There it goes. Toe-to-toe against the Japanese battleship. And we're getting a hit. 7,000 points of damage right onto the Japanese ship. Serious crew losses now. And they got a flash fire. Ship's burning up. Flash fires. And another one. There goes your main turrets. Lay into them with everything you got. Is that another flash fire? Lay into them. Go on. Like, this is the stuff that you play Dreadnoughts for. This is probably why you guys watch. The big effects, the big battles, the big boom boom. Okay, we're gonna turn away from the ship. Oh, right through the stern. We're gonna turn away from the ship and try to get the stern torpedo launcher to also inflict damage. It's gonna be a bit difficult, but if I can get that to land, I think it's gonna do a lot more damage than I can ever do with the guns. This ship is probably done for, though. The Asahi has no more ammunition for her main guns. She's rolling over to starboard. She just took another big pen. Yep, torpedo away. The Asahi is desperately trying to turn to starboard. But I think it's not good enough. And there it goes. Hit. Unfortunately, at the already flooded section. Yeah, this torpedo launch has definitely paid off. Normally, I wouldn't really take that risk. But considering that they now do so incredibly serious amounts of damage, they're absolutely worth it now. So the Japanese, in the first stages of the war, have already lost a heavy cruiser and now a battleship. This is going quite well. Victory points, 20,530. Nice. That is very nice. Now, what I really like is that the AI was not strictly a pushover this battle. I mean, they did shoot back, they did damage me, and their design was good. So, I'd say, in this case, I hope it's not going to be a big pushover. I hope it's not going to be as bad as sometimes it can be. But we've already inflicted about 58,000 points to the Japanese. Now, there was a battle here, I auto-resolved it, and I'm not exactly sure what the outcome was, because it was a battle that I tried to do manually, but it kind of got stuck, unfortunately. So the Japanese did get their own 9,000 victory points. I am not completely escaping scot-free. Whether I lost some ships, I find that very difficult to... well, actually... Yeah. I have clashed, but I'm not sure what that did exactly. As for status, yeah, I'm repairing the Cast Outlaw, the Alexander is repairing, the Cory just fought, the Malahawk already fought. We got some more ships in battle. Alright guys, that'll be it for this episode. Next time around, more damage to the Japanese, and ideally, the start of the invasion of Formosa. Catch me then, will you? See you in the next one.